Ken Trahan with Lenny Vangilder. It's our SportsNola.com weekend review brought to you by First NBC Bank with locations throughout the greater New Orleans area and beyond. Well, the Saints, of course, pretty much put themselves behind the eight ball. Not much left, Lenny, except to win out and then hope.
Yeah, and Seattle did them no favors yesterday. Some of the other teams that needed to lose did lose. Minnesota losing to Green Bay, Tampa Bay to Denver. But Seattle winning at Chicago might have really made things difficult. The Saints are 2 games behind the Seahawks for the last spot with 4 to play. Seattle plays 3 out of 4 at home, where they have yet to lose this year. So you do the math. If Seattle wins the 3 at home and loses the 1 on the road, the Saints can't catch them. So it's going to be difficult. They're going to need some help. Someone is going to have to go into Seattle and beat the Seahawks in a very tough place to win.
It was a maddening loss in Atlanta. The Saints defense played well after the first drive. The offense moved the ball, but turnovers just crushed this team, missed opportunities, penalties. It had to be one of the more frustrating games in recent memory of the New Orleans Saints.
It really was. I mean, it was kind of a throwback to the old days where the defense was playing out of its mind, but the offense couldn't get anything done. They seemingly moved the ball at will for a while there, but just couldn't get it in the end zone. You had, the clock mishap at the end of the first half, which is something we've never seen a Saints team do in this Peyton Breeze era. And of course, we get into the conversation that Peyton isn't there and it's just Breeze. But anyhow, it's some of the things that we saw in that game Thursday night are things that we have not seen in 7 years.
So the Saints move on, and tough road game this week, and they have to win. It's that simple. LSU knows where they're going now. They're going to Atlanta. Not for the SEC championship game, which just passed, but for the Chick-fil-A Bowl against Clemson, a very tough team that can really score points. The real Tigers, please stand up. The real Death Valley, please stand up. And again, the bowl system works the way it works, and that is they pick teams according to who they think is going to draw the best. So LSU got passed over for the Cotton Bowl in favor of Texas A&M.
Yeah, it's a whole so many trickle-down effects based on the fact that Northern Illinois made it to the BCS, and you can get into a whole another video discussion of why Northern Illinois is in, but it really just set off a trickle-down effect that sent LSU to Atlanta, that sent Louisville to the Sugar Bowl, that kept Louisiana Tech out of a bowl game. So many things that it impacted just that one move. Things where people were not expecting that to happen, and some things had already been put into place otherwise. So, you don't necessarily feel bad for anybody. LSU is going to have a great experience in a place they have played very well. They are 5-0 all time in the Chick-fil-A and what formerly known as the Peach Bowl in its histories. But it's an interesting matchup, and Clemson's an outstanding offense, and LSU obviously with an outstanding defense, which has played much better on offense later in the season.
Florida and Oklahoma locked out in that order. Ridiculous. Georgia locked out. You can't have 3 schools from the same conference in the BCS, and that, too, is something that should be looked at because I don't believe that's very fair either. But it's another story for another day. You mentioned Louisiana Tech, ULL, ULM, both ULL coming to the R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl, and we look forward to that.
Yeah, it should be fun, December 22nd. East Carolina, you got 2 8-4 teams, so you got a solid matchup, at least in terms of teams with records. And obviously, the folks from Lafayette are going to travel en masse again. You expect that. East Carolina's led Conference USA in attendance for the last 5 years now, so you expect they would travel well in New Orleans. This could be not just an outstanding football game, but one that's got a pretty strong attendance as well.
And ULM playing close to home in a bowl game and not playing Louisiana Tech, who could have gone there but apparently chose not to.
Yeah, they'll get Ohio U instead. And, hey, the Independence Bowl had to do what they had to do, and they – I'm not faulting them for that. A lot of people are trying to cast blame in a lot of different directions up there. But, maybe there's a sense of irony. Bruce Vandevelde is the athletic director at Louisiana Tech. He was trying to get in either the bowl game in Dallas with some help from Conference USA or even the Liberty Bowl with some help from Conference USA. And who ends up knocking him out but his former school where he was the AD, Iowa State. So who knows how all of these things work out in the end.
Yeah, really strange stuff. Finally, the Hornets. Not much to talk about. Struggling mightily, missing star players that are playing aren't playing all that well, and they're home against the Bucks tonight. And I guess the biggest concern, aside from the record, we know they're not going anywhere already, but the biggest concern would be attendance, Lenny. It just hasn't been very good.
No, it hasn't, and obviously there are tickets sold out there, but people aren't showing up. And part of the challenge in this market is, this is clearly first and foremost a football town. And if you've got any kind of schedule that's front-loaded with games and, giving the Hornets a 5-game homestand in late November, early December doesn't necessarily work in this town very well. Granted, they will have the Lakers in here Wednesday night. You figure that will draw well. They drew well for Oklahoma City on a Saturday night without, any direct football competition per se. They got the Grizzlies on Friday, but you're going to be going head-to-head with high school football. It's just a lot of things going on that are football-related here that certainly affect the gate.
Always a pleasure. Don't forget the high school state championships this weekend. You can watch our video on that to find out who's playing, who you like, why, and you should get out and support those games as well. Don't forget Sports Nola TV, special time, 5 p.m. Monday evening on WHNO Channel 20. Lenny, is always a pleasure.
Hey, we'll talk to you later this week.
All right, that's our First NBC Weekend Review, brought to you by First NBC Bank. For Lenny Vangilder, I'm Ken Trahan. God bless you.